All right, Commissioner Paradiso, we're live on Facebook, and I just started the recording, so we can start when you're ready.
Thank you, Jimmy. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting Thursday, February 4th, 2021 to order. We will start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us get in a prayerful mode as we start our meeting. Dear God, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we're gathered together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with the spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to work together and encourage each other to do better. We ask that we would challenge each other to reach higher and farther to be the best we can be. In your name we pray, amen. Roll call, Nikki.
Commissioner. And Commissioner Schuff.
Here.
Okay, thank you. We have a few guests this morning. We'll start with Casa. Michelle, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, the floor is yours. Welcome.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me on this meeting. I know you guys are very busy, so I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. I was actually going to have two of our board members present with me, Angie Harrison and David Kent, but they were not able to make it due to some last minute changes. So David did want to say hi to you, Tyler, and then Angie wanted to say hi to you, Tony. So Mike, I will say hi to you then. So I just want to start briefly on what CASA is. So we stand for Court Appointed Special Advocates, and we are a nonprofit agency that is nationwide, but our specific program covers Seneca, Sandusky, and Wyandotte counties. So we train everyday average Joe people to advocate for children in court. In doing this and having volunteers be a child's advocate, it saves the county thousands of tax dollars because the judge then doesn't appoint an attorney to do the same job. Another plus side of that is we have our CASA volunteers go through an extensive amount of training to become an advocate. It is about 30 hours that our volunteers go through, and they learn about the traumas these abused and neglected children have to go through, and the services in our community that can help these children and their family. We go over courtroom procedures, the signs of abuse and neglect, because many times when a case comes into the court and the CASA volunteers in establishing a relationship with that child, they come to trust them and end up telling them that maybe some other types of abuse happen to them as well. So they need to learn those signs and how to properly deal with that when they come across that information. Many other things that we cover in our training, but that's kind of the broad stuff. And we also cover a lot of the drug epidemic because that's a majority of the cases we're dealing with, because a lot of these parents need that help, and that's why the court system is involved with that family. Any questions kind of about what CASA is about before I move on?
It might be helpful for some of the viewers. What would be the age group of the people you're working with?
So we can be appointed from birth all the way to 18. And then in certain circumstances, when a child needs a little bit more guidance after they turn 18, they can be with the court system and have a guardian ad litem until they're 21.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No, okay. So that's kind of the broad what our volunteers do. How our volunteers get involved with a child is Children's Services receives a report that a family is in need. They go in and investigate in that and find that that family needs court intervention. So then they will take that case to the court system. The judge then appoints either an attorney or a CASA. In our case, when the CASA is appointed, our volunteer is going to all the court hearings involving that child. They're visiting monthly with the child to develop that important relationship that our whole program is really based on and established with. That's really important to us, that trust that we establish with the children. And then we're also receiving records such as police reports, medical records, school records, just to keep an eye on how the child's doing, what's going on in their life, and how we can better help them, live in a safe, healthy environment. So after we've, met with the child, the family, and gotten some records on how family's doing in services, how the child's doing, then we will make recommendations to the court on what we believe is in that child's best interest. And that can be where the child's living, whether that child needs some extra help in school. Many times that is the case because children are going through they went through a very traumatic experience before this, but because they're involved in the court system, they may not be living with their parents, or they may not be allowed to see their parents except in a supervised setting. And that's also very traumatic. So being able to recommend what we need to do to help them in school to help them flourish further. And basically any recommendation that we feel would be in that child's best interest. We also inform the court of the child's wishes. That's another important thing for us because a child in this situation, they're moved or they're told they can't see their friends or they have to move schools, can't see their family, and they feel that they don't have any control. So when a CASA is involved, we actually ask them what they want. And many times in the cases that I've dealt with, their eyes just light up whenever we ask, like, what do you want? Where do you want to live? And that's very important to them. They feel that they have somewhat of a say and some control in this. And so we let the judge know what the child wishes as well. And then after we make those recommendations, the judge makes some orders, and we just monitor and stay with the child until the case closes. And hopefully that case is closing with the child in a very healthy, loving environment where they're going to flourish from there on. So that's what our program is about. I did want to let you guys know kind of statistically where we were at last year. CASA was no stranger to being impacted by the pandemic, but unfortunately, the amount of cases that we were getting in last year were not impacted by the pandemic. We served 229 children with a total of 62 volunteers, and if that's across our 3 counties. So if you're just looking at Seneca County, we served 85 children with 33 volunteers. And if you kind of look back on our 2019 numbers, we served 234 children with 54 volunteers. And that's across the 3 counties. So we had a little bit of a dip down, but we expected that given children weren't in school as much in person. Most of the time teachers are the biggest mandated reporters. They're with the children, they see the abuse that's happening to them and can report that. So we actually are expecting that once kids are full-time back in school, that will probably end up getting some increased numbers there. And so our numbers for cases weren't really impacted, but financially as a nonprofit, we were not able to host any of our large fundraisers last year because of the pandemic. And that usually brings us in $20,000 annually. So that was a big hit for us. And then on top of that, one of our biggest grant providers our grant was cut by 32%. So we were actually starting out our 2021 budget $20,000 in the negative. So we're working on, collecting donations, trying to refigure if we can have some of our fundraising events this year, or try to look at maybe doing something online. So that's where we're at financially. Still going strong. Organization's been around for 30 years, and we're not going to let COVID stop us or stop our volunteers from advocating and doing the best that they can for these kids. And I also did want to let you guys know that CASA is right now contacting and has presented to some schools in the area. We've teamed up with Children's Services to help educate teachers and staff in school systems on how to recognize abuse and neglect, and what that looks like through Children's Services once they do report. And then I kind of give an overview on what happens with the court system once reporting has been done and the allegations look like that is what happened. And then we also have discussions with the educators on how we can best keep an eye on these kids while teaching virtually. It's pretty hard to see the kids that maybe have bruising every day when you're only seeing, you know, their face. So we brainstorm ideas with the schools on how to keep an eye out. Some ideas that we came up with were if a teacher had a student they were concerned about last year, to help spread that information to their current teacher, just so we can protect and keep an eye on these kids as best we can, even through, you know, virtually educating and through the rest of this pandemic. That's pretty much all I had. We have a great need for volunteers. I know if anyone's ever heard me present, I always say that because it's always true. Through the pandemic, we've had some volunteers that were not able to stay with us, and that's perfectly okay. There's a lot of health concerns out there, and it's kind of scary. So they're just taking breaks. So right now we are we'll be conducting our spring volunteer training in April. So if anyone is interested, or maybe you know of someone that would want more information about CASA, see if this is the right thing for them, feel free to reach out to me. If there's any school systems that would like CASA and Children's Services to present, they can reach out to me through our website or Facebook page and get to us that way.
Michelle, I have a couple comments for you. Were you able to obtain any CARES Act money?
We were, yes.
Nonprofit, okay. And forgive me because I'm not aware. Are you on the Family First Committee?
Yes, I'm specifically not our director.
Represented there. Yeah, I'm disconnecting that. And then maybe Jimmy Flint, Public Relations through the county, can help work with you. You two get together and he can maybe help promote anything or get the word out.
Yeah, that would be great.
I just want to thank you, and you just do God's work. It's amazing. All the schools and CASA and the juvenile court and Kathy Oliver, Job and Family. There's so many people working together to help our community, and it's just, boy, the longer I'm in this job, the more I hear these kind of things. I just have a great appreciation for all the resources we have and the way everybody cares and works. So thank you.
Thank you. I thank our volunteers. They're the ones that do the hard work here, in making sure these kids are in a safe place. And many times we see our volunteers that once a case closes and the children are maybe teenagers or actually above 18, they still reach out to their CASAs because that connection is so great. That's someone that they can trust and depend on for years to come.
Hey, Michelle, this is Jimmy Flint, the county's public relations coordinator. I was wondering, you mentioned 30 hours of training for people who want to volunteer. Do you know when the next opportunity for training is in case people are interested in getting involved?
Yes, it's going to start in April. I don't have an exact date yet, but I'll start reaching out to people in March, and we're going to conduct it, half online, half in person. So we're very flexible with our schedule on training. We usually meet in person once a week for 3 hours, and we'll coordinate that to work with everyone's schedule that partakes in our training. And then the online portion is a lot of reading, videos to watch throughout the
Okay,
week.
that's awesome. Do you have a contact phone number for people if they want to get more information?
Sure, they can call our Tiffin office at 419-448-1442.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks for coming today.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Next on our agenda would be a TSEP quarterly update. David Zach? Or Audrey, are you going?
Good. Do you,
See,
Jimmy,
Audrey?
you want to give us the ability to share a screen?
Absolutely. One moment, please. Okay, go ahead and try it now.
Perfect. See if that works. How's that looking, Jimmy?
Looks great. You're good to go.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Okay, it's great to be here at our first county update of the year. I'm going to let Audrey Flood, our development manager in charge of rural development, community development, entrepreneurship, kick things off. So with that, Audrey, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, you running the slides?
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. Can y'all hear me okay? All right, thanks. All right, so as you know, I have 3 areas here at TSEP. In addition to assisting with the administrative and financial side of TSEP, my 3 development areas are rural entrepreneurship and community development in Tiffin. So I'm going to start looking back at last year with some of the top success stories. You can go back one, David. There we go. Yep. So in rural development, some of the top great stories we had last year were one, just really continuing to increase the communication and partnership between all the rural townships and villages and building those relationships. We got a lot of great feedback that, they enjoy having an extra, little bit of voice in the economic development conversation. And we're continuing to get to know each other and how we can work together better. So that was a great success. Also working on a few projects with some villages who are looking to, develop some goals around development in their, towns there. So that was a great start that we're just kind of kicking off last year. And then some specific stories of rural businesses I wanted to share were Lane of Dreams over in Eden Township, Julie Vogel and Claire Johansson. I was able to work with them and then also get them partnered up with the chamber, and they were able to really turn things around this year. And despite some COVID setbacks, kind of get back on their feet. And I grew up riding with Julie and Claire, and that was a really personally satisfying story with me to be able to help them and give back to them in this way. So that was great. Another great story, as you'll see in the photo there on rural development, this is Handshoe Cakes and Cookies. That's Lisa Handshoe there. We were able to do some assistance for her this year, and she's growing her business. She does tons of great work for the community, and she expanded her small shop kind of in her house. She renovated her garage and now has a whole shop out there. She's in Scipio Township, and that was just an awesome story. She's so excited and happy to be growing and to be here in Seneca County. So that was great too. And then also just all the kind of COVID emergency help and assistance we were able to get the rural businesses was kind of a narrative of 2020 as far as that section as well. In community development, just a reminder, I do community development just for the city of Tiffin. Charlene, our partner over at Regional Planning, does community development for the rest of the county. So these are only Tiffin projects. We did apply for nature trails through the community development block grant for Tiffin last year, and we're approved for that money. So we're working on getting that project done this year. We also built the Tiffin Community Development Committee, which includes lots of different partners, elected officials, business owners, community members, and we are, trying to get a more collaborative approach for development in the city of Tiffin. And then we also launched our Dream Big Tiffin program in 2020. So this was, really trying to build a way for the community to give more input, both on what projects are out there, what ideas they have, and then giving input on that list of what they think is most important. And then working with, the city and funders to get those things done. So that first cycle of the Dream Big process is just wrapping up this week, actually. So that was a great story of 2020 that we were really proud to get off the ground. In entrepreneurship, we built a committee starting early in 2020 for this, so that's exciting. Got a group together to, again, try to make a more collaborative process around what's already going on in entrepreneurship and improve that. We also launched in 2020 the strategic planning process. So we're working with our partners at GLCAP. We were able to get in on a great grant they have for rural entrepreneurship. So that gives us access to some different programming and resources, and also allows us to kind of use their funds to support our entrepreneurship efforts that does cover all of Seneca County. So launching that was really big in 2020. And then last but not least in entrepreneurship, I think the most fun story is getting a lot of work done on our CEO program, which hopefully you remember me talking about. This is the Creating Entrepreneurial Opportunities program. And we did a lot of work on this in 2020. We had put together a great board of people who were all very dedicated and helping out a lot with this. And it's really rural led. We have a rural school district, Seneca East, as one of our educational partners on the board. We have Sutton Bank and North Central Electric are two of our really strong business partners, which are, again, rural businesses over in Attica. So we're really making sure that that program is going to reach students in the whole county, including the rural parts. And we created a new nonprofit for that and made great strides for that in 2020. So really excited about that. Okay, you can move on to the metric slide. All right, so just wanted to share some key figures for those of you who are more number oriented than stories. So in rural development, we had more rural small business check-in or insight calls or outreach and more projects than ever before. There are between 40 and 50 active projects in the rural area right now. Some of those Nick is working on, but a ton of projects going on outside of the city of Tiffin and rural Seneca County. We also were able to partner with the chamber more than ever before. I know Bryce is listening, so we appreciate his partnership of bringing rural businesses into that fold and being able to get them connected with all the great resources that he's able to share. And then we also distributed over 100 boxes of free PPE that we got from Jobs Ohio, including a lot of different rural businesses in that. And then serving rural businesses through the farmers market initiative, we started with 8 vendors we were serving at the beginning of the year, and we grew to 35 through the end of the market season. So great increase there. Some of the key metrics for community development, we have about 20 volunteers, actually more than 20 volunteers on board now for that committee and people that are assisting with that initiative. We brought in or were approved for the use of $120,000 for the Nature Trails project. We had 35 ideas submitted by the public for the process and 10 full project proposals submitted this year, and we hope to keep growing that each year. We also had over 150 people participate in public comment for community engagement there. So that was a great number to start with, but again, looking forward to building that next year. In entrepreneurship, some of our key numbers would be the investment of over $100,000 that we have committed in the CEO program, which again is its own separate nonprofit that we're assisting with. And that includes almost 40 investors that have agreed to support that program, that's really huge. We put on over 20 webinars last year that I helped set up for small business and entrepreneurship purposes. We also did between 10 and 15 business forums during COVID that we continued through the year. Those are online business forums. Again, we have over 20 volunteers on the committee that's helping with our countywide entrepreneurship effort. And then David will mention, but we helped 186 businesses in the community with the CARES Act fund, which I personally had to process a lot of those. So I was able to see the fast reach of throughout the county on the CARES Act fund. So that was a really great metric as well. All right, next slide, David. Okay, looking ahead to 2021, some of the goals in each of these 3 areas. Top goal in rural development will be continuing to support the villages and connecting with the rural elected officials to build on their initiatives, continue to pull them into the conversation about development even more, and to partner with them on some of their goals for revitalization. One of the things I'm most excited about is bringing Amy in, as you all know, our downtown Main Street manager, where it makes sense. Some of the villages want to do things specifically in their downtown areas, and having Amy as a partner to be able to come in as an expert on that part of what we're working on will be really great to continue working on that in 2021. Also want to continue to reach more new businesses than ever before, which we have the COACT program that David will talk about helping with that, but really excited to be getting resources in front of more businesses than we've ever had before. And we also want to continue to increase our knowledge of programs that can help the rural businesses as well. In community development, our biggest goal here is to really build this culture of community development, culture of people knowing they can come forward with their ideas and present their input to have a really inclusive and transparent process for how the City of Tiffin's development runs. So that's our kind of overarching goal for 2021 development. We hope to bring forward more community development projects in 2021 than we've seen before, to kind of keep building that list, and also to provide more service and community development to the top priority projects than before, and building out the resources that we can provide as part of that service. A couple of specific projects, as I mentioned, we'll be looking to complete the Nature Trails Park project in partnership with the City Engineer's Office in 2021. And then two other top projects I'll mention are the Transformation Life Center, which is the homeless shelter project that our office is assisting on to help get that off the ground, and then the community kitchen project, which I know you all have heard a little bit about as well. We're hoping to provide a lot of assistance to that and help get that off the ground as well. Finishing up with big goals for entrepreneurship in 2021, we hope to be wrapping up towards the end of our strategic planning process for entrepreneurship by the end of 2021. It may go a little bit, our timeline, into 2022, but we hope to have the bulk of the work done on that plan by the end of the year. We also hope to continue building our entrepreneurship resources hub, make sure we're building our knowledge of what all is out there and available as part of that planning process, and to be able to help entrepreneurs as they come. And then lastly, the big one we'll actually be launching the CEO program to serve students in 2021. So this fall, it will actually begin serving students for the first time. And again, the reason this is huge is because we are the first program in the state of Ohio. So really appreciate all the work people are doing on that. All right, I'll wrap up there. Does anyone have any specific questions for me on anything I mentioned? Thank you.
Thanks, Audrey. Really appreciate it. With that, we'll turn the talking stick over to Nick Dutro to talk about what's going on in what went on in industrial and commercial development and the exciting things that we got planned for this year. With that, Nick, over to you.
Excellent. Thank you. And good morning. Glad to be here and speaking to all of you. David, we're going to go to the next slide there. Thanks. So I'm going to begin with an overview of 2020. Obviously, as we all know, the biggest story of the year was COVID-19. Looking back at the unemployment rate, Seneca County ended the year at 5%, which is below the state 5.2% average. On the year as a whole, Seneca's average unemployment rate, or average unemployment rate, was 8.1%. That's the same as the U.S. average, but again, below Ohio's 8.2 average. That was far above, though, I will say far above the last 2 years. We had 4.1% unemployment as an average in 2019 and 4.4% average unemployment in 18. Of course, that rate ebbed and flowed throughout the year. We reached as high as 21.3% in April, and we're down to a year low in October, actually, of 4.3%. Again, thank you to Carol, who gave me those numbers for reporting. So why I mention all of this. It's actually background for what was actually a really great year for Tiffin and Seneca County. In 2020, we ranked number 6 in Site Selection magazine for large private economic development projects. That's out of 531 micropolitans in the US. And that includes both projects happening in Tiffin, as well as Fostoria, covering all of Seneca County. Seneca County also added 3 new manufacturers in 2020. I'll get to those in just a minute. But these are the first new industrial companies since Grammar arrived in Tiffin in 2003. And we've had considerable numbers of new jobs that were announced, which is really great news. So many of the industrial companies in Tiffin are growing or are looking to grow. And there's many other industrial projects we're working on coming this year that we hope will be announced very soon. As for project management, and David, if you don't mind moving to the next slide there, thank you. As for project management, there's 3 projects that truly stood out this year. The first one was Church and Dwight, which the commissioners gladly helped, we were very happy to work with the Board of Commissioners on this project. Church and Dwight invested $38 million in its new facility in Old Fort. They added new product lines, machinery, and they did building construction. As well, they expanded their workforce by 60 people and brought employment up to 240 people there in Old Fort. Next was Durrell Home Furnishings, which is the parent company of Ameriwood Industries. And they chose to expand the Tiffin facility and bring 87 jobs to Seneca County for a total workforce of 248 people. And then they plan to invest $3 million into their facility here locally. Finally, TH Plastics, which is a custom plastic injection molding company that supplies the appliance and automotive industries, announced they purchased the industrial spec building on Tiber Road and are investing to more than double the size of that building, bring machinery and equipment to the new plant, and investing millions of dollars into our community and adding a significant number of new jobs. All very, very exciting for them. Some other things I want to mention quickly on the industrial sector. MBDS, which is a Findlay-based company, they opened a plant in Tiffin at the former Tiffin Insulators. TPC Food Service purchased the old GE plant, which was most recently Atlas Industries. Webster invested $3 million in new machinery and equipment, which is 2 years of investment by Webster, more than $5 million they've put into the company in the past few years. Arnold Machine acquired a division of Findlay Machine and Tool. American Plastics made another investment into the company here locally with a $7 million investment into its operations just outside of the city of Tiffin and rural Seneca County. And then Five Star Maintenance and Oseco, again, both located in the Airport Industrial Park just outside the city of Tiffin, both announced expansions, and excited to be working with all of them on those things. On top of that, there were some headlines and some commercial developments. NRP Group is moving forward with the second phase of the Tiffin Point project, bringing affordable housing to the area, which we all know is very needed. Circle K announced a new gas station being built. Little Willows Academy and Ultimate Touch Salon both opened on Miami Street. The Tiffin Drive-In Theater was purchased, and there's been considerable investment there. Dr. Chris Sears is building a new office near the Willows at Tiffin. The Head Shed and Clinton Heights Golf Course both announced expansions. Rich Zeiss announced that he's doing a condo project, again, bringing some needed housing to Tiffin and Seneca County. And East Chicago will be returning to Tiffin with a new restaurant here to open in this year sometime. David, next slide, if you don't mind. So what I'm working on coming into this year is, basically a lot of the same. 2021 will be another busy year for us here. Following the sale of the industrial spec building, David and I have been working diligently on the next one, doing our part to keep Seneca County competitive in the market. Right now, the only available industrial property is TPC's old building on 6th Avenue. And there are a few parcels of land available for industrial development, but it doesn't really get us in the game without having a building. So we've been working with our Economic Development Committee, identifying and ranking available land for future development. And that included contracting with consultants as part of this process. And we are in the midst of receiving back some requests for proposals from our members on the construction side for the building of a new spec building. Not only is it critical, we feel, for our ability to attract new companies to Tiffin, it's also the focus of my capstone project as I work for my Ohio Economic Developer status. Busy on kind of both ends of that, making sure that project goes through. Meanwhile, I continue to just be busy with other projects. I have 39 projects, I think 42 now, since this slide we did that I'm tracking and working on. The majority of those I work on at least a monthly basis. Many are focused on existing manufacturers who are considering expansion. So we hope to continue that trend of more industrial development in the coming year. Another focus for this part of the year is reaching out to companies. So TSEP is working to touch more companies than ever before with our new Seneca Fortune 500 initiative. I know David will mention something about that during his report. But already we and representatives of Jobs Ohio have been connecting with companies via video calls. We did some of these last year. We're going to continue to do those throughout the year. Just a great way to get some of those folks on the phone with our companies who are here in Tiffin and Seneca County. Also, I'm beginning the process of updating our website, which is going to, overall improve the look and functionality and make it a real marketing asset for our county. I expect the next quarter we'll be working diligently through our committee to find a company that will make our website reflect the kind of world-class service that we strive for here at TSEP and throughout Tiffin and Seneca County. David, if you don't mind, the next slide, please. All right, and just to kind of wrap things up here, wanted to give just an update for all of you on what we've been doing on as far as media goes. As you know, kind of the third piece of my work is doing our press releases and working with the media. For 2020, I produced 73 press releases for TSEP, and then we also produced an additional 23 per our contract with the city of Tiffin. These resulted in 194 stories in print and on the web and 30 TV segments. So we had a lot of buzz there in the region with WTOL, as well as the other news stations in Toledo, which is really exciting. Additionally, we reached 136,779 people on Facebook, and that's just with these announcement posts alone. So it doesn't even include all of the other social media that Audrey works on and makes sure that keeps updated. So we're getting some really good reach out of these stories and these announcements that we're putting together. With all of that, any questions from anyone? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nick. And without further ado, let's turn it over to the Downtown Tiffin guru, none other than Amy Reinhardt, our Director of Downtown Revitalization. Amy, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. David, you can go to the next slide. So 2020 was interesting for everybody. Coronavirus certainly made an impact on our small business. And, we did our best to work with them by implementing programs like the Dora, putting out picnic tables for people to gather outside and be distanced, doing remote events like the auction and the Tiffin Tales, just trying to keep people engaged in the community, reminding them that we're still here. I know everybody was stuck at home, so the more things they could do remotely, the better. We had a number of businesses during the shutdown take that opportunity to do a refresh, kind of rebrand their spaces. But we also had a number of businesses that had to pivot, that had to come up with new ways to exist during the shutdown. So just a couple of examples, Releve Bar Studio. Donna had her original studio up in Michigan. She had come down here to Tiffin, but had always wanted an online presence. And the coronavirus, the shutdown actually encouraged her to move in that direction. And she's actually doing quite well right now because she has both an online and an in-person presence. So that continues to assist her business at this time. Simply Susan's. Susan, being completely shut down with a retail shop, had to reinvent how she was going to exist. And with that, she just about every evening, she had some online sale going on, she was showing everything that she had to offer and people were purchasing online. So a great example of ways to pivot and adjust to stay active during that shutdown. And even now she has at least one of those sales still going on per week because she found that it does actually benefit her business even in this market. The Renaissance, another example. Bars were shut down, then they had limited hours and up and down and back and forth with the bars and what they could do. So Dave came up with a couple of creative entrepreneurial ideas, one of which was the Pink Lady. He has this fantastic food truck that is all over town and even beyond Tiffin that is just doing great business for him. And the Party Punts, the Renaissance on Wheels. So that is an opportunity to rent the vehicle, whether it's for a wedding or for just going to Cleveland to see a ball game with your buddies or going and seeing the wineries around town. So he actually has 3 businesses now that are all supporting each other. So again, just a great example of people pivoting, growing, changing during the pandemic, and it continues now. Great support that we had through all of this. The Advertiser Tribune, WTOL, recognized twice in Revitalize Ohio magazine last year. Small Town Charm came out and did a blog on the community. We did receive 2 state awards last year, despite everything that was going on. So we are now at 8 awards and 1 honorable mention for the downtown organization. So continuing to get out in front of people statewide and letting them know what we have going on. You can go to the next slide, David. So the growth that we saw last year, despite everything, we actually had 10 facade projects last year that were approved. 3 were through Heritage Ohio's program, and 7 were through the city of Tiffin for a total investment of $570,000. 10 new businesses did open downtown last year, and 32 new jobs were created. So during the course of the year, we had nearly $4 million of investment. Now, I will say that is businesses opening, that is startup costs, that is building owners doing renovations, that is infrastructure projects, streetscaping, Wi-Fi, gas line work. So that is just a compilation of everything that has taken place downtown in the past year. You can go to the next slide, David. So as we're in 2021, what are our goals for this year? 5 to 10 new apartments, 10 new businesses, beginning to track retail sales. This is not something we've done in the past, but looking into ways that we can begin to see where the businesses have been and where they're going, watching how they're benefiting from that and how we can assist them. And work plans. So this is another great way to continue the work that we're doing, putting together those step-by-step plans on how the work is getting done. As you have turnover with committee members and committee chairs, this is an opportunity to take the knowledge and the information that they have and be able to pass that on to the next person so they can pick up and continue the work that we're doing. David, you can move on to the next slide. Okay, and so finally, how are we going to do all this? So we are going to start with transformation strategy. So that is making downtown Tiffin a place to live and thrive. With that, we are going to get our work plans implemented, continue to measure our impact on the community, get community input, and then understand our market. So as we're doing that, we have our 4 downtown committees, which is our holistic approach to downtown revitalization. So beginning with economic vitality, that's our business enhancement committee, working on our outreach, talking to all of the businesses in the downtown, finding out how they're doing, what their needs are. Are there any of the incentive packages out there that we can assist with in any of the needs? Could it be hiring? Could it be expanding? Could it be training? Any of that, we will help them. Secondly is recruitment. So we are very quickly running out of space downtown. It's a great problem to have, very few available spaces, but we want to be strategic about how we are recruiting business into the community. So making sure that we're reaching out to the community for input, the city, the county, implementing things like, we had the parking plan that was put together. There is input in there, as well as taking all our census data, making sure we know who we are and recruiting based on who we are as a community. So goal 1 there, increase our business mix. Moving on to design. So our design committee, focusing on continuing the great work that the facade program has been doing for the community, in continuing to restore the history that we have downtown and making sure those buildings are going to be here for another 100 years. Looking at art policy and trying to bring public art into downtown, as well as lighting, whether that's Christmas lighting, parking lot lighting, just a few of the things that we're going to be touching on this year. But again, as we continue to see the increase in the beautification of the buildings, alleys, and projects like that, we see an increase in foot traffic downtown. So that's goal number 2. Number 3, organization. This is our operations or our downtown development board. Their goal this year is going to be looking at what is Main Street and how are we going to share that out to the community and educate everybody on what that looks like. They're going to also continue to work on accreditation. We are very, very excited here just last month to have received our 5th year in a row, both state and national Main Street accreditation. And we'll continue to work on the Downtown Summit and other supporting activities. So having a business mindset, that's goal number 3. And number 4 is promotion. So marketing and retailers committees, promoting downtown as a whole, making sure that we're doing the great work and sharing what it is that we're doing, not just with events, but what is Main Street. So they'll be working with our downtown board and making sure that we're sharing that information. So the fourth goal for the year is economic boost. So as we're bringing people in the downtown for events and other things, people are spending money and sharing in our community. So just making sure that we are we're approaching this very strategically and continuing to do the great work that we have been doing downtown. And that is all I have.
Any questions for Amy?
Great job, Amy.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, we're going to go to our, what we like to say is our adopted team member, works for Job and Family Services, but critical in our work with working with the businesses in Seneca County, Carol Kern. So Carol, if you will start your presentation, that'd be great.
Okay, good morning. David, if you want to move to, okay.
Yep.
The 4CG, we continue to meet. Our big project right now is we're trying to put together a virtual career fair for high school seniors. We're looking at the week of April 12th. And so far I have 5 schools committed from Seneca County that will be seniors from the 4CG counties of Sandusky, Seneca, Ottawa, and Huron. With regard to the business advisory councils, we now have just one business advisory council. Previously, we had one under the county, the NCOESC, and we had the Tiffin City Schools. They've combined and now they're under the Northwest Coretti Initiative. And I know David will talk a little bit more about Northwest Ready in his presentation. The employer videos, we've started those again. We recently were at Grammar and we filmed theirs, and we're in the process of scheduling an initial meeting for the next one. So hopefully by the next update here to the commissioners, we'll have another video to show to you. The manufacturing showcase also is going virtual. We were at National Machinery Manel Milling last week, did some filming there. They talked about their companies, and then they did one of the activities that usually are presented at the showcase for the students. So in March, the video will be shown. They'll watch Manel Milling, National Machinery, and then the students will have a chance to do one of the activities on their own as well. The reason we chose Manel and National because those two have both been on the committee since the first showcase in 2016. Custom Glass Solutions has a huge project going on. They have facilities in both Fostoria and Upper Sandusky, and they're working to make all of their 400 plus positions in the facilities state registered apprenticeship programs. So they're working with a company where they've outlined all the tasks needed to learn the skills for those positions. And we were able to work with the Greater Ohio Workforce Board and Wyandotte County OMJ to secure a $375,000 incumbent worker training grant for this facility. That's 50% of the cost to train employees for just this first year of the project. And we are looking ahead to future years to try to start working on funding for those years. Job Seneca County Facebook page continues to do well. We now are over 2,000 followers. I believe we're about 2,025, and at the end of 2020, we were just under 2,000. So again, that page launched in March of 2019. At the end of the year, we had the under 2,000. Like I said, we now have more than that. For last year, we had 2,993 posts, over 827,000 impressions, and we still have just the 5 videos posted there. But again, hopefully we'll be adding more soon. For business services last year, I entered 163 job orders. 12 were for first-time customers. And there shows you the funding for incumbent worker training, wage reimbursement for new hires, and youth work experience. All that money went back to employers to train workforce. For 2021, I want to continue to increase the number of new businesses. With the contract we have with COAC, the Fortune 500, already I'm gaining new businesses. I've served 4 new ones just this month already. I want to continue to promote funding sources to employers. I'll remain active with 4CG and the Northwest Career Ready initiatives to build our future pipeline and workforce. And I want to continue to assist Seneca County to be a best practice county. The incumbent worker training grant, the fact that we're a sponsor for registered apprenticeships, I want to continue to do things like that to put us in the forefront. Thank you.
Awesome. Any questions for Carol?
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be the last kind of as we round third base and come home. You know, it's great to be here for the first county update of the year because I always love hearing the updates from my fellow teammates on their different development areas. We just heard Carol talk about targeted workforce programs and grant dollars, as well as big picture initiatives. We all know that's the biggest challenge our employers are facing right now and was pre-coronavirus, which is finding, training, retaining talent. I love hearing about Audrey and her bold community development initiatives, our entrepreneurship strategic planning effort, Seneca CEO, as well as the rural outreach. I love hearing about Nick and the incredible industrial projects we're seeing, the momentum to develop Seneca County's another new spec building, as well as the next industrial park. Amy and all the amazing things going on downtown. in downtown Tiffin, which is the county seat and a large sales tax generator. I often say they inspire me, and I absolutely mean it. It's awesome to hear about Seneca County's progress, and when I hear them speak, I'm strengthened in our community's future and my confidence. I also want to give a shout out to Sam Bucky, who I know is here on this presentation, as he helps all of us out and been doing that for the last couple of months. Great Heidelberg student doing great work, and we appreciate everything he does. So before I go to the kind of 1,000-foot view and look back last year and forward at this year, I want to mention a couple of things. First, we sent out our quarterly report to you and other county elected officials yesterday, listing the community's biggest, announcements for the last 3 months of 2020, plus some of our biggest accomplishments as an organization, while also providing a snapshot of the project pipeline, which has more than 150 projects right now. Let us know, please, if you didn't receive it or have any questions about it. And additionally, we sent our county services statement, which details how we are fulfilling our obligations under the contract item by item and what we accomplished during the quarter. And we really appreciate your ongoing and strong support for this organization and its mission. The second thing I want to mention is that, and now announce, is that we're launching kind of our first ever annual jobs and investment survey community-wide. We're going to ask all Seneca County businesses interested in doing so to fill this out. We're looking to get a better read on the economy and what took place over the course of the year. Although the number of economic development projects and new jobs announced is awesome, it doesn't always give us a comprehensive view of how the majority of existing businesses are doing. If those businesses had to lay off, and some employees, we know that happened last year, and how things have gone for them. We expect this information to help us also identify ways that we can best help those businesses survive and thrive. The third thing I want to mention kind of preliminarily is that we've had a number of free seminars lately, often in partnership with Bryce and the Seneca Regional Chamber. I appreciate all of his support and what they're doing to help our businesses. We just held a webinar with officials from the Small Business Administration at the end of January on the 29th, and they spoke on the economic aid to hard-hit small businesses, nonprofits and venues act, the third round of PPP and other assistance programs. We're going to be putting that online. And what we have online now at YouTube, and if you search for Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership on YouTube, you'll find our YouTube channel. We have our recording of a Tech Cred webinar from January the 21st, which is a state grant program, which they're going to be opening another round of funding soon, up to $2,000 per employee, up to $30,000. And Carol's helping connect businesses with those resources. So that being said, let me review the results for 2020. First, it's important to note that, before I, talk in excited fashion, that we know many businesses had a difficult year. Some businesses even had to close, and some of our manufacturers had significant reductions in sales and productions. We heard many of their stories up close and personally when we administered the Tiffin and Seneca Cares programs, to say nothing of the loved ones who were lost to the virus as well. That being said, there was an amazing amount of economic development that took place last year in spite of the coronavirus. We were able to track $91 million in new planned investment in Tiffin and rural Seneca County and 451 new to be created jobs. We tracked almost 200 different projects in the economic and community development arenas that took place during the calendar year. Second, I think it's worth highlighting that we were privileged and honored to administer the Tiffin and Seneca Care Small Business Relief Grant programs, which I referenced earlier, distributing $1.2 million to more than 100 businesses in Tiffin and rural Seneca County. I want to give a big shout out to Stacy Wilson, as well as Ellie and Derek Devine's office and Julie Atkins for all their help. And of course, Audrey, who is spearheading a lot of the efforts and doing so much work, continues to do so much work behind the scenes, as well as the entire team. So just appreciate everybody's help on that. Truly a team effort on those programs. Third, in our strategic area of organizational development, we were very pleased that we were able to retain all of our private members, 72 private members that support this organization. And we got an average rating of 4.5 out of 5.0. So across the board, our members and stakeholders are happier than they've ever been. We're never perfect. We always have plenty to improve, but people are satisfied with what we're doing. In the fourth strategic area of real estate development, Nick mentioned this. We were pleased that our 50,000 square foot spec building sold in November. And we moved forward to expand our search for a new industrial land to almost 40 sites, working with our partners. And we've narrowed it down to six to eight sites after months of due diligence. And we're excited about what's going to happen, as Nick was talking about, the Economic Development Committee in 2021. And then we also connected with, more than 300 businesses last year. And in our sixth and last strategic area, we issued about, as Nick said, 125 releases, more than 200 news stories. Despite the coronavirus, there was a lot and is a lot to celebrate, a lot to be proud of, and a lot of good reasons to be very optimistic about our future. So with that being said, let me move to some of the highlights of what we're looking to do this year. This is my last slide. So kind of to close, first, we're hoping to realize at least another $40 million in new investment, at least 100 new net jobs in Tiffin and rural Seneca County. We're also looking to continue to manage 34 programs and services that we directly provide to businesses, as well as help them access another 140 other programs. So, making sure on the retention expansion effort, we can help them with everything that we're aware of is important. We also plan to recruit new members this year with a new fundraising drive. We're also looking to solidify a development partner to construct a new spec building, as well as purchase and or control land for a new industrial park. Fifth, we tend to double our usual outreach of businesses, touching at least 500 of them, thanks in part to a grant-funded contract that Carol helped procure for the county and we're going to be working with Coact Associates in Toledo to do additional outreach, and as well as our partnership with our good friends at the Seneca Regional Chamber. And last, but certainly not least, we plan on developing, as Nick mentioned, a new website initiative, which we will hope not only will revamp our website and the downtown Tiffin web presence, but also provide some collaborative infrastructure to develop some exciting, innovative partnerships with the Chamber, Destination Seneca County, and perhaps the county and city as well, similar to what we did with some of the community branding stuff, to develop a united, coordinated online presence that both wows and serves our businesses, our partners, our residents, and the visitors that visit this beautiful county. With that, let me say again, thank you on behalf of our entire team, as well as the business and residents here, for your strong, longstanding, and ongoing support of economic community downtown development throughout Seneca County and of this organization in particular. With that, I'll be open to any questions or anything else that anybody would like to talk about.
David, just a comment. After watching your report, maybe I had an aha moment, but I really appreciate the branding, and I noticed Job and Family's logo up next to Carol, and it all it's very professional, and so all that hard work, I think, I just want to make a comment that I appreciate that, and for me, it's noticed from the branding side. And then secondly, I'm very pleased ongoing how you not only work hard, your team, to attract new business, but you're always paying attention to the current businesses. And I think that's very important as well. And I know you balance that out and do a great job of it. So I just wanted to let you know that from my end that I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Commissioner.
Do we have any other comments, commissioners? Anyone any comments?
Keep up the good work.
Okay, thanks, Tyler.
Thank you so much, Tyler.
Okay, we'll move on then. Thank you, everyone. David, your team. I skipped over the approval of the minutes, so I'd like to handle that at this time. So I'll accept a motion to approve the digital audio recording of the previous board session from Thursday, January 14th, 2021.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Okay, I'll second that. Roll call, Nikki.
Commissioner Kirschner? Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to the county administrator's report. Stacy Wilson.
Sure. Just a quick update on our month end for January revenue. We are at $1,340,512.62. Our expenses are at $1,412,299.76. I wanted to remind everybody that we are having an EMS meeting, board session on Monday at 7 o'clock via Zoom. Nikki will be sending out reminders again to the districts, to the individual electeds on those boards to make sure that they receive the reminders. Seems like we missed a couple last year or last meeting, sorry. Also have just a little, we are having our phones switched over from AT&T to Spectrum today. That will happen around 2 o'clock. So if you call the office, can't get through, we're migrating over. So please email us. Hopefully it won't be down for very long. We had the CSB done last week and had a couple issues. So just wanted to get that out there. That'll happen about 2 o'clock today. Quick update about the Justice Center signs. I worked with Amy to fill out the application for those signs. The Architecture Board of Review next meeting will be on February 16th at 3:30 that will attend to address the sign request. And I think that's all I had for today.
My mute button, Stacy. There you go. Thank you. We'll move on to the commissioner reports. Commissioner Schuff.
Thank you, Commissioner Paradiso. Been out in the county meeting with some of the EMS districts and stuff. Had a meeting Saturday with Bascom EMS. So I've been getting out kind of talking to some of those folks, seeing some of the different challenges that they're having and some of the issues. So that was nice to kind of get some information from them. We had the office closed last week, but before that we had the ribbon cutting at James Monthly Market, which was well attended. I think she's going to do very well there, but not much to report on here this week.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Kirschner. I think he's okay. So I'll just, I have a couple comments. EMS continues to really be a part of all our reports as we are gaining momentum, and we are extremely focused countywide on analyzing our EMS system, seeing how we can improve it, and just really get a cohesive group that together with all our districts and boards so that we can make improvements and put ourselves in a position for the long term. And I appreciate everyone's cooperation. We really don't have a time frame on this. We are meeting formally every month, and there are just a lot of meetings ongoing as well. So just want everyone to know that that continues. I was involved in solid waste. All our commissioners were involved in the OSS Solid Waste District meeting yesterday. We have a new director. There's a lot of planning and things going on there. I was appointed as vice chair of that committee. So Seneca County had some representation on the executive committee there. And, looking forward to diving into OSS. We also had a regional planning meeting last night, and the new slate of officers were established, and want to wish Mayor Keckler the best. He was elected president. I was vice president, and Barb from Fostoria will be the treasurer. So we have a new executive team there. We plan on having some discussion in the very near term, and then setting a strategic planning meeting with Charlene and the executive committee to discuss 2021. So all that is going on. We received a letter from Department of Agriculture that they would like to spray and attack the gypsy moths in the county. This would be an air assault on the moths. I had the opportunity to call and speak with Dave Atkins who sent us the letter. We're looking at mid-May for this, and then round 2 would be about mid-June. He informed me that postcards will be going out 1 week before this. There'll be plenty of news releases, and all those that are directly in the affected area will receive personal letters. And obviously, Jimmy and the commissioners will work with the airport and continue communication, because there will be very low flying airplanes and spraying and all that going on in the county. So we just want everyone to know that that's coming. Commissioners support this. He basically informed me that the treatment has been very effective. And I asked him, is this going to get worse? You're going to come back every year? And he mentioned that, maybe in 5 years, they might have to come back. They've had some great success with it. They have to hit everything just right, the weather, the wind, that kind of thing. But so I wanted to bring that up as, that's going to unfold, and that's kind of hot off the press. Commissioners will be sending a letter back to them. So I guess that ends the commissioner reports. Stacy, anything else from your end? If not, we'll go to old business. I really do not have anything in old business. Any commission, Tyler, anything from you?
No, not at this time.
We may have lost Commissioner Kirschner. If you're on, anything?
No, I think I'm here, Tony, now.
Okay,
Can
good.
you hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Yeah, I just wanted to report on Industrial Managers Association, Seneca County. They had their, I think, semi-monthly meeting. Mayor Mons and I gave an update. He talked about the city. I talked about the county. I also wanted to reiterate our support of OSS and the new executive director, Gary Beatty, over there. Anybody has any questions about recycling or any questions like that, they're welcome to call Mr. Beatty and introduce themselves. That's, we continue, as you said, to work on the EMS situation. We've got our plates full, and I'm happy to be here. And I don't think I have any other old business or new business as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That, we'll move on to new business. Stacy Wilson.
Yes, new business I had on the agenda, Humane Society. I was hoping to have a chance to call them, see if they'd be available. So I won't go too much into this because I want them to be part of the conversation. But in 2020, just with the chaos going on, the Humane Society had hired a special attorney for some cases they have, and had sent us a letter in October. Ohio Revised Code allows the Humane Society to employ an attorney to prosecute violations under law relating to the prevention of cruelty to animals. And then the county shall provide or approve as just and reasonable cost. And I think that's where we would be at now. He's obviously a very skilled attorney. Our prosecutor is as well. I sent it to Derek. Derek said he's more than willing to take these cases, but I think it's just a matter of us sitting down and having the discussion. And with COVID last year, we just didn't have the good communication that we would have normally had this gone through. So just want to bring it up a little bit today. I'm hoping to bring them on to have a little bit of discussion to figure out, where we want to be on this. And so just a quick update on that. So to be continued. Other new business. Let me share my screen. Okay. I have a couple supplemental appropriations. I have a request from EMA. They need an additional $869.54. This is for a new computer for the radio pager programs. I think the one they had was maybe not even an XP, but the upgrade that we were allowed to do with COVID and everything. We needed to get a new computer, and they will pay that out of their EMA line. Next, I have a request from Regional Planning. This is for the sewer district. I think the sewer district, yeah. For New Regal capital improvements, $11,950. And it looks for an Infinity Series pump, and there is a quote attached. Next one I have is also at the request of Regional Planning. This is for the CDBG fiscal year or program year 2019 grant amendment that was approved, Eden Township, continuing $7,582 towards the project. Her request is to put $16,952.50 into their Melmore upgrade line. It's a contract service line. And I will stop sharing those. And I have a couple non-financials. I have a resolution appointing Aaron Allen to the Developmental Disabilities 169 Board for the term expiring December 30th, 2025. I think Nikki's got a bio for her and in your email. And I did also send you a little quick paragraph on what the board is. This is for obviously the Developmental Disabilities School of Opportunity. It's set up by the Ohio Revised Code. So we need to appoint that person. Next, I have a contract, resolution entering into a contract with Mastermind LLC on behalf of the Seneca County Engineer. The contract is for some safety studies, doing sign inventory, compliance, guardrail, pavement. He's consulting with this firm. The cost is $43,200. And I think this is, he said it's going to be funded through the County Engineers Association of Ohio. And I think that's all I have.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the new business as the appropriations, right?
Mike Kirschner, I will second.
Okay. Nikki, roll call.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I think that wraps things up. Jimmy, if you'd like to open up for public comment, I think this is the time.
Yep, that sounds great. So if you'd like to make a comment, you can go ahead and come forward, hit the unmute button and speak now. I don't see anything in the chat. If you're calling through the phone line, make sure and just hit *6 if you want to unmute. Thanks.
Morning, Commissioners. Bryce Riggs from the Seneca Regional Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Services, as well as Destination Seneca County. Just want to report back as part of our newly signed contract with the Commissioners. It's our responsibility to have a tourism council of folks that represent the entire county, stakeholder groups, as well as government officials. We met last Thursday, thanks to Vicki Johnson. She's probably on this call she was on this call for writing an article that was on the front page Friday. And it really was for our first meeting, was very happy with it and really happy where we're going. Michael Strong is serving as the chair, and then Denise Bell from the Seneca Conference is serving as vice chair. Really have a great group and looking forward to the impact we're going to have for the years ahead. But just really want to thank the commissioners for their ongoing support and for ensuring that we're the best that we can be. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, going once, twice, three times. We'll call this meeting adjourned, and we'll see everyone next week.